드디어 여길 수 있는 큰 박수 부탁드립니다. 네, 그러면 마이크를 넘기겠습니다.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. By way of introduction, my name is Wang. I host the world's only televised cryptocurrency show on television today. The show is called Crypto Trader, and it is aired on CNBC Africa and Middle East. And from January, the show should be aired on CNBC USA as well. And I was the first one to get into getting televised content about cryptocurrency to the masses. That's my introduction. I'd like to hand over to all the other panelists for a quick 30-second introduction about who you are and what you do.
Hello everybody. My name is Wang from Dragon Fund. Actually, our fund is a quite typical equity venture capital, but we actually invest in the blockchain area for about 4 years already. So in the past, we have overall global-wise, we have 200 portfolios. In Korea, actually, recently we invested Carry and Sentinel, and we are also a very key investor of Repos. And so it's very happy to be here to share some information with you guys. Thank you.
Hello everybody, just call me TF. I run my own investment fund, Road Financial, and also one of the earliest investors in Repos. I've been in the asset management and investment industry for more than 20 years. So New Silk Road now is my private investment vehicle, where we invest and partner with companies to scale and to exit with a China focus.
Now, before I let you go on, I need to ask you, how did you get to the name New Silk Road?
Yes, well, I was quite surprised I managed to incorporate a company with that name in Hong Kong. Because New Silk Road is also the name commonly used to describe the Belt and Road initiative in China, or One Belt, One Road. And it actually captures what I'm trying to do. We're focusing on businesses with a consumer focus, what I call the soft Silk Road.
Hi everyone, my name is Robert. I run Udacity in China and also APEC. Has anyone heard of Udacity here? Can you raise your hand? There's 2 or 3 people in the back. So Udacity is the world's largest IT training platform. We have over 10 million students on our platform, learning everything from web development, to app development, to AI, self-driving cars. And just last month, in partnership partly with Red Pulse, we launched a blockchain engineering course. So if you want to learn blockchain and launch your own ICO or do blockchain-related tech work, you can come to Udacity. So Udacity, we work with companies like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Baidu, WeChat to build really custom-made IT training courses on our platform where you can learn the skills, get certified, and get amazing jobs. And actually related to CNBC, we were just recently voted by CNBC as ranked number 8 on the world's most disruptive companies. So really excited to be here and support Red Pulse.
So what you're saying is you work for a very, very small company who makes a very, very small difference to the world.
That's right.
So today the topic of conversation is education, and we're going to specifically explore traditional education versus online education and try and find out what the gaps are in each and how everybody feels about each one. So the first statement that I'm going to make to you guys today is, or the first question that I'm going to pose to you guys today is, where are we in terms of traditional versus online education? Who is ahead and why?
So in terms of traditional education, I think traditional education, the strength has always been in teaching the conceptual things, math, science, history, liberal arts, and so on and so forth. I don't think that's going to change. But I think over the past 10 to 15 years, I think we've seen technology accelerate at a rate that's really unprecedented in history. And what that means for the traditional education industry is that they have real difficulty sort of keeping up with that change. And so you go to any university and it's very rare that you can find any classes in blockchain, any classes in AI, any classes in robotics or self-driving car. And then that's where online education can really sort of fill the gap, right? So today, the ratio of jobs to sort of available talent out there for AI and blockchain is close to 5 to 1 or 10 to 1. So there are around, just in China alone, there are 5 million sort of positions out there for AI and blockchain, that are not being filled. Right? And this is partly a fault of traditional education because they just can't keep up with the demand. They can't develop curriculum fast enough to meet this demand. And this is, for Udacity, this is sort of where we fill that gap and where we can help out.
So to dig into what you're saying there, you're talking about they can't fill the demand. Why can't they fill the demand? Why can online education do something so much quicker than traditional education? What is the barrier? Is the barrier the ability to write textbooks? What's the difference?
So just the process of launching new courses at universities takes close to a year or 2 years alone, right? That's number one. And second of all, a lot of the universities have these teachers who are disconnected from industry, right? And they are very, very good at what they do, which is like teaching things that have happened in the past, but not as great as sort of looking towards the future. And that's sort of where, again, where Udacity really falls in. So we are really focused, unlike some of our competitors, we're really focused with top companies.
So I'm going to challenge you there specifically, and then we'll move on to the other two. But I'm going to challenge you specifically around blockchain, because a lot of the blockchain projects today are coming out of universities. They're coming out of professors. You're talking about Elaine Shi, who started Thunder.com. You're talking about Professor Dawn Song, who started the Oasis project, and many other projects that are actually coming out of university, which means that the people are in the university and the content is in the university. But unfortunately, they can't translate this quickly enough into education. And I'm trying to understand what the barriers are.
I think that's a really, really great question. So there's one statistic that I've seen recently where it's something like, not related to blockchain, but in AI. Of all the 300,000 academics in AI, 200,000 now work in industry, which means they've left the universities and they now work in industry. So when 200,000, when 60% of the academics who are working in say, blockchain or whatever, or AI, leave universities, who's there left to teach it? And so that's creating this huge problem.
So it's possibly a function of academics who feel that they can better achieve their dreams now in a decentralized industry versus what their dream was to spread knowledge to the world.
Exactly.
I'm going to hand over the mic to our two other guests and ask the same question for you. Where do you think we are when it comes to online education versus traditional education, and why?
Right. Well, I'm probably going to address the topic in a slightly different way, because I'm not actually from the education space. But let me share some ideas from the perspective of where the industry that I come from, which is investment and finance. Right. I also like to tell my colleagues and clients over the last 20 years that in the investment of financial world, we are in a business of ideas. Right. At the end of the day, if you think about it, right, when you're deciding to buy or invest in a stock or a company, you're trying to project the future, right? And it's really about who has the best ideas, who has the best analysis, or what we call intellectual capital. Right? Who has the best intellectual capital? So if I link it back to the question on education and knowledge, the question is, given the type of economies that we have today, right, with the new economy, with a lot of disruptive technologies coming into play, like obviously blockchain and a company like Red Pulse, who has actually the best intellectual capital to understand and assess companies like that? And I would say that traditional education, universities and the certification programs do not necessarily keep pace. They're not able to necessarily produce the type of insights that are necessary now in the new economy. And that's where I think online education provides a very interesting alternative because of the speed, the scale, and the instant accessibility across a very broad audience. Right? So now you don't need to have 20 years of experience to produce a valuable insight compared to a fresh graduate out of school. Right? And because of that, it totally disrupts, I would say, the financial ecosystem, the research ecosystem, and that's also very much the reason I invested in Red Pulse.
So I'm going to ask you a question coming from the financial services industry, which is known to be a very traditional industry in their approach. If there are two candidates sitting in front of someone at JP Morgan or one of the big banks, one has a traditional university degree, a master's degree in finance and investment. Another one has no traditional degree, but has done 5 online courses. In the real world, what chance does the one with the 5 online courses have of getting the job before the guy with the traditional degree?